I need you to put your hands together now to watch and make history. The first black majority whip in the history of the United States Congress. The first black member of the Congress from South Carolina in the last 2 centuries. The first to make a tremendous difference in our lives. Somebody I've known since we drew his district since I had black hair, and he had a lot of it. The one and the only, the Honorable James Jim Clyburn, member of the House of Representatives of the United States, the majority whip of the Congress. Give him a hand clap of praise as he comes.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Reverend Rivers, for your long friendship. Thanks to you for your great support over the years. I know I'm dating myself, for Nelson to talk about when he had black hair. It reminds me that I first met him as a high school student, getting ready to graduate from high school, getting ready to go off to Vietnam, and when Lucille Whipple came to me, as I got a young man that I know gonna be something, and he needs to go to college. And boy, was she right. He has become something. And I thank him so much for his friendship. And I thank all of you for all I know you're gonna do between now and November 3rd to get things right and back on track in this great country of ours. Be here to talk all day, every day about making America great again. We don't need to make America great again. America is great. That's not the problem. The problem is getting that greatness accessible and affordable for all Americans. We know how good our educational system is, but it ain't accessible, it ain't affordable. We know how good the healthcare system is in this country. We got to make it accessible and affordable for everybody. That's our challenge. We don't need anybody else to tell us how great this country is. We know because we helped to make it as great as it is. And we did it while being underpaid and sometimes not paid at all. So we don't need any lectures on that. And all of us has got a role to play in that. As I came down Hampton Street, I said to my detail, as we looked over here at the jail, I said, the last time I went to jail, I spent 3 nights in that building. And I tell the story a lot in order to make a point that I'm going to make here today, so I'm going to tell it one more time. When I went to jail that day, it was not my plan. I was a student at South Carolina State. South Carolina had just passed a new law that they call breach of the peace. They had been locking us up for trespassing. And they were losing all those cases because how could you be trespassing in S.H. Crest when you're trying to get a hamburger, but you weren't trespassing if you're buying school supplies? So they were losing those cases. So they came up with a new law that they call breach of the peace. We decided to challenge that law. So many of us came from Greenville, Spartanburg, Orangeburg, Charleston, Florence, Myrtle Beach. We all gathered here in Columbia to test that law. I decided that day that I'm going to go and help them organize, but I'm not going to jail today. So I came over here with my little olive green 3-piece suit on. I had on my gold shirt, paisley tie. When I walked in church, the same church right here, I walked in there and Reverend Newman saw me. And he knew something was up, because that's not the way we dressed when we were getting ready to go to jail. And he came up to me and asked me what was up. I told him, I got to go to class. I got a lot of homework to do, so I can't go to jail today. He knew that wasn't true. Going to class and doing a lot of homework wasn't the thing I did too often. But then he said to me, he said, now there's some students over here. They want you to lead their group today. So I went over to talk to them. They were from my high school. And I told them, I said, now look, I don't mind leading the group. But when we get down there and they tell us to turn around, we got to turn around because I need to go back to classes and y'all need to go back too. So we made the deal that I would lead them, but when we were told to turn around, we were going to turn around. So we started marching. Got down to the State House. J.P. Strom, the chief of SLED, came up to me and said, now Clyburn, this is as far as y'all going to be allowed to go. You got to go back. So I turned around and said, all right, let's go back. They said, oh, no, we ain't going back. Well, needless to say, 2 hours later, I'm in jail. So late that night, 2 o'clock in the morning, we were laying there on the rifle range. They had gone out to Fort Jackson and brought in these canvas cots and had them up on the rifle range down there in the basement. I'm laying there with my hands folded across my chest. And one of those young men who was so loud that they came over to me and says, Clyburn, I thought we were getting out of jail. I said, yeah, we're going to get out. He said, when? I said, just as soon as Reverend Newman raised the bail money, he's going to get us out by morning. So he left. He came back a little later. He said, now, Clyburn, who did you say was raising the bail money? I said, Reverend Newman. He said, well, he's that old man with the goatee? I said, yeah. He said, he back over in that corner over there. Well, needless to say, Newman was in jail too.
All right.
So it was 3 days later before we got out. I learned a lesson that day. All of us got roles to play.
Yes.
My role that day was to go to jail.
Yes.
Newman's role was to raise the bail.
Come on.
When he started doing my thing, he messed up. And so we couldn't get out of jail. So that's what we got to learn today. All of us got roles to play. When I get on that plane on Monday evening and go back up to Washington, I'm going to go back up there because I got Mr. Mnuchin coming before my committee. And we're going to ask some questions of him as to what he's doing with this money that they are supposed to be using to pay people to keep their payrolls current, keep from firing people, helping people pay their rent, pay their mortgages, and the money ain't going the right place. So we going to ask him some questions. That's going to be my role. That's not your role. You don't have the opportunity to ask him questions. I do. And I got to do my job well. If I don't do my job well, then we don't get done what needs to be done for the American people. So all of us got roles to play. And I guarantee you I'm going to play my role between now and November the 3rd. And I'm going to tell you, we all got to play our roles between now and November 3rd. Now, I know this is not a political rally, but I'm going to make it one. My friend John Lewis and I were friends for 60 years. 60 years. We met as 20-year-old college students trying to get off the back of the bus, trying to integrate lunch counters, trying to integrate schools. We met and we carried on a 60-year relationship. And just before John died, we sat on the floor one day and he told me that he knew what the end was going to be. And he pretty much knew when it was going to be. And he's told me he was writing an op-ed piece that he was going to have the New York Times published on the morning of his funeral. And he did. And they published it. And in that op-ed piece, after he had departed from this earth, John Lewis was asking us, don't forget to vote. Yes. Keep your eyes on the prize. We've got to do what is necessary this year to make sure that we put this country back on the right track. Get its greatness to each and every one of us who are deserving. So we know November the 3rd is going to be election day. But we're going to make October election month. We can start voting here in South Carolina on October 5th. We ain't going to trust the mail because we know what they're trying to do to the mail. We're going to start voting on October 5th. We're going to vote absentee in person. We're going to get people to the polls early. And by the time the polls open on November the 3rd, we're going to have this election in the bag. We're going to have us a new president who knows how to get things done on behalf of the American people. We're going to have us a United States Senator whose background, whose experiences will make him sensitive to what needs to be done in order for people to have a good, productive life in this great state. We help this state. This is our state too, and we're going to have to get people to understand we will not concede 1 inch of South Carolina to anybody else. Our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, we help to make this state what it is. And so I want to say to you today, we got a job to do. Don't wait on anybody else to do it. Each one of us know what roles we can play. Let's play those roles. Let's play it well. Nelson Rivers has got a job to do. I'm going to help him do his job. That's why I'm here today, to help him do his job. I got a job to do. He's going to help me do my job. And you all going to help us do our job. Yes. Because our children, that's right, and our grandchildren depend upon it. I got a 25-year-old grandson. I think about him every day. Every time I pick up a newspaper or turn on my television and I see another black boy being unfairly treated, being shot down in cold blood, having a knee placed on his neck. I think about AC, because I know that he is being judged not by the content of his character, but by the color of his skin. And nobody is going to ask him, who is your granddaddy, before they mistreat him. Nobody is going to ask you who you related to, who you know. They're going to see you. They're going to place judgment upon you, not ever knowing who or what you are, because they don't care. But we do. And I want us to show that love and respect for each other throughout this campaign. All right. All of us were not for the same person. When I had my fish fry, there were 23 people there saying they're running for president. 23. Only one could be the nominee. You don't have but one nominee now. And that nominee may not have been the person that you supported. But I know what? He is miles and miles ahead. He is feet above what's currently sitting in the White House. So we got to go to the polls this day. We can't be judging. He may not be all you want him to be. He ain't all I want him to be. But he is all that we've got between us and losing the right to vote, between us and losing the right to make a living, between us and losing the right to have fair and affordable housing, between us and being able to pass to our children and our grandchildren what little equity that we may build in home ownership. He is all that we have between us and losing those rights if we don't get things done right on November 3rd. So I ask you, whatever may have been your differences in this primary, let's get over them. I had differences in my own family. I was for one candidate. One of my daughters was for another candidate. Her son was for still another candidate. But we in the same family.
All right.
And we on one accord now. So let's get together. Let's not keep litigating this primary. The primary is over.
Yes.
We got a nominee.
Yes, sir.
Don't compare him to the Almighty. Compare him to the alternative. And we know what the alternative is. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all that you've done. And I want to close by saying this, Nelson.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people ask me, what got into me that morning of my endorsement? Nan got into me.
All right.
The morning before I made that speech, I didn't know it. I was invited to a breakfast to get an award. They didn't tell me that they had just named this award in honor of my late wife, who had just passed away. And when they gave me that honor, and I accepted it, all I could think about were those 58 years that we spent together. 58 years that started out in jail. Some of you don't know this, but I met her in jail, trying to get off the back of the bus. And for those 58 years, we had our disagreements, but we got over them. We made the adjustments, and we made 58 years together. Whatever our disagreements are, let's get over them. Let's make the adjustments. Let's win this campaign this year. Let's get this country back on the right track. And let's make sure that we pass to our children a commitment to get along with each other, a commitment to do what is necessary to make this place a better place for their children. This is our land too. Let's don't forget that. Let's hold on to that. And let's rejoice together on November 4th. Thank you and Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you.